dias, it's Kaipacha with the weekly Pele report, and this one is for Wednesday, June 3rd of 2020. Moon just left Scorpio, jumped into Sagittarius. She's going to be moving along in that Sagittarius until what? The full moon. The lunar eclipse is on Friday, 15 degrees, 34 minutes of Sagittarius to Gemini. And not just a lunar eclipse. If that's not enough, it's like a super full moon going on. Okay, we've also got the Sun conjunct Venus. Venus and the Sun. She is in the underworld as far as she's going. Right? And that conjunction is happening today. And I'm going to be talking quite a bit about that, Venus in the underworld. I have a whole meditation of Venus in the underworld, and we can feel that she is definitely in the underworld going on. Okay, we're going to just have that, on Friday also, but all through the week pretty much, that Mercury is in square to Chiron. So, it went into Cancer. Chiron is in Aries. We've got that square going on with Mercury, Chiron. And another more what I want to be talking about with all the chaos that is just blowing up right now. Sun square Mars. And that's been going on. Venus square Mars, Sun square Mars. That's been happening. It is happening. And it is exact on Saturday. By then, the moon has moved into Capricorn. Right, and on Sunday and Monday, the moon comes around to conjunct with Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn. So, it's a moon in Capricorn weekend, okay, and it's going to be, of course, that is in opposition to Mercury. And, yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about that. Mars is, closing in on Neptune over there in Pisces, and I'll be talking about that a little bit, and yeah, things are getting pretty crazy. They're going to stay crazy. They're going to even get more crazy as, after the lunar eclipse. Obviously, we have a total solar eclipse coming along on the 21st. Venus doesn't go direct until the 25th, and Mars doesn't get out of Pisces until the 29th. So this whole month of June, is going to give us a lot to ponder, feel, think, and act upon. So let me talk about it. All right, everybody. I have a crown of bananas today. I need to get going on this freaking report before it starts raining. And Love Rain Oh Me, Quadrophenia. I was listening to it actually after the report last week. Some of you mentioned that you remembered that, and it was one of your favorite albums. Whoa! Good to know I'm not alone out there. Anyway, there's so much going on, and I apologize for the sound. Last week, and a number of you said, oh, the sound cut out right as you were reading about the Dutch children, and what did that say? And they wanted, so I'm going to go back a little bit. Yesterday, actually, it was Tuesday, that Venus was exactly square Mars. Venus is retrograde, coming back to the Sun. Sun is catching up to Venus. Boom, they come together exactly today. Sun keeps moving on and squares Mars tomorrow, and Venus keeps going backwards away from that square. But when she goes direct, she's going to come back and square him again, baby. So it ain't over. One of the main things that I'm really going to be getting in today, with today's report is, we are at the onset of the birth canal. We've just started pushing. This process is a long process. Thousands of years of subconscious material that needs to get squeezed up to the top, to the surface, for us to see, for us to look at, for us to deal with, for us to change, for us to evolve. Mars moving through Pisces is the collective unconscious. Neptune, ruler of Pisces, in its own sign, the collective unconscious. Mars coming up to that Neptune. Okay, it's going to get even more. There's going to be, we need to look at more and more and more of everything that we have suppressed, ignored, avoided, denied, lied about, the illusions that we have had around nature, around sex, around race, around religion, around politics. It's all going to be coming up. Nature, Mother Nature. Call it life. I like to call God, Goddess, Source, Creator, life. Life is my teacher. Life is my master. I serve life. Life created me. Life, it's really, life is teaching us some lessons here. And we can either learn the lessons and emerge out of this new birth canal, okay, into a new age, into a age of light, of enlightenment. I mean, there's great potential there. This could be looked at as an initiation, okay, into an enlightened society, an enlightened planet, an enlightened reality. But it's not a given. It's not in the stars. Astrology is not going to say what we do with our choices, what we do with our free will, how we interact together, how we deal with all of our shadow stuff. No guarantees, no givens. It can also just go down in flames and extinction. We can go extinct. We can, just like wipe ourselves out. So we are on this threshold. Like I said, this is a year of great transformation through death and resurrection. Hopefully there is a resurrection. It's going to be more, like I say, in a number of years. But I just, started cooking right in there, and I wanted to, just get this a little bit over with, right? So, Venus was square Mars, and that was, Venus at the 15th degree of Gemini. And there's a progression here. This is all Gemini. I'm going to talk more about that. But two Dutch children talking to each other, exchanging their knowledge. The need to clarify one's experiences through actual contact with like-minded souls. Not so easy with social distancing, but, transcendent experiences and supernormal faculties must be tested and clarified through the use of normal and collectively tested means of communication, which may mean through scientific procedures. The Dutch children seem to have been introduced by the subconscious mind of the psychic, of the symbol, because of an association with neatness and the open spirit of discussion which has prevailed in Holland. They are children because the new experiences are still very fresh and require certification. This demands a clean and open mind, eager to test what is experienced in an exchange of views with one's peers. And then today, that Sun-Venus conjunction is at the 14th degree. The Sabian symbol is the bridging physical space and social distinctions. Two people communicate telepathically. The capacity to transcend the limitations of bodily existence. In order to function in the world of material entities, we need to focus the energies of life in a limited organism and an ego mind that is formed by the pressures of a particular culture and family social background. Yet a time comes when the individual can transcend the limiting boundaries of culture, race, religion, and ego. An effort should then be made to enter a realm of consciousness in which the communication from mind to mind can take a more direct form, because the minds then operate within the one mind of humanity. The one mind of humanity. And I talked about the one body of humanity in last week's report. And we just want to really look at ourselves. And this is where we get into the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine. The masculine yang energy is out, extrovert, conquer, dominate the external, physical, material, financial worlds, and and seek power, okay, you know, through all of this. And the feminine, you know, in the yin yang, it's the white and the black, right? The black, the dark, the inner, the feeling, the emotion, okay, the energy within that leads to an opening. So it's important now. We've been through thousands of years of extroverted, materialistic conquering, you know, and now we see the results. Okay, conquering leads to domination, and it leads to dominance, and it leads to suppression. And what has been suppressed is what? Right? You know, dark skin, dark color. Okay, you know, children. We have the pedophiles. We have the sex trade, okay, with little girls. Okay, women in general, the feminine, you know, Gaia, the resources, the waters, the polluted rivers and oceans that we, you know, I mean, and just our environment. This is all, and our own physical bodies. You know, obesity, diabetes, cancer. Look at all the freaking diseases, okay? And now here comes, you know, and what is it? It's your immune system. Viruses, you know, viruses are actually, okay, agents of evolution. They alter the DNA. And I'm going to put a link to Zach Bush. He did an amazing video, just a genius of a guy connecting together, okay, you know, this whole energetic biosphere that we are in, and our bodies and viruses, and how, you know, this is natural, you know, nature. We need to embrace nature, live in nature, accept nature, and part of nature is even death. And this acceptance of death is like a huge, huge, powerful thing. But when you have an inner life that leads you to a spiritual life, it also leads you into an understanding of reincarnation and the life of the soul and the eternal nature of your spiritual being. And then the fear of death is reduced as you are not identified with the temporary physical ego consciousness that comes with the physical material body when the soul enters the third dimension of time, space, and matter. I'm also going to send another link here for Carolyn Mice. Carolyn Mice talked about how, you know, where we are now, and it's like, you know what? You know, it's just like, you know, Mr. Floyd, right? This was the straw that broke the camel's back. This is a time where it's like, you know, nature, the virus, the government, the, you know, deep state, whatever you want to call it, the billionaires, okay, they're strangling us. The banks and the authorities and the corporations. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Just think of I can't breathe. The breath is the lungs, prana, spirit. Okay? It's like you are so materialistic, or you are so dominating, or you are so, you know, not connected to the inner world of spirit. And that inner world of spirit brings with us, okay, an understanding of the mind of the one, that the law of one, that we are one with all creation. And no one is happy till everyone is happy. And no one is more important than anybody else. Okay, you know, I mean, really. You know, is your hand more important than your ear? More important, you know, than your genitals? More important than your lungs? More important, you know, it's like as a body, we are each contributing. We are all intradependent. That's why this social isolation is like really, it's bringing everything up that's in this collective unconscious. It's in our personal unconscious. Each one of us needs to deal with our own personal shadows. Shadows are the result of what we have suppressed and denied about ourselves and our own creative expression. And some of that creative expression has been denied us by the socio-cultural religious conditioning that we have been born into. We've been born into this time. Okay, on a soul level, we all chose it to make this transition, to make this change, to rebirth this planet, to evolve human nature. This is all opportunity. And so today's mantra really brings us into a learning, a lesson. And I'm going to put in a third link down below. Andrew Harvey, a modern day mystic. Absolutely got turned on to him just this last week. Blows my mind. There's a link on there, and if you subscribe, you can get his free audio book called Hope. And this guy is another mind-boggling, blowing individual that talks about compassion and forgiveness, having to do with hope, right? And Carolyn Mice is talking about prayer, which has to do with hope, and this whole connection with developing an inner life, a meditative life. Venus is retrograde. She has descended down into the underworld. The goddess of love, of beauty, of sex, even of material abundance and prosperity, went through the 7 gates, the 7 chakras, and gave up, right? Her connections, her power, okay, her beauty in so many ways got stripped naked and hung on a meat hook by Ereshkigal, her sister, the goddess of the underworld. This is a humbling. Nature will humble us. Hopefully the government or the law or the military doesn't humble us, but, our bodies will humble us. Medicine, I mean, there are so many factors beyond our control that are here to humble us. And in that humility is where we find our deepest root energy. Our kundalini is in the root chakra, and we descend into the underworld of the dark, where we let go and surrender all of our power, all of our glory. We come down into the basic, fundamental, who am I? What am I? What do I want? What do I need? What is basic? And then we build upon these basic truths. All the falsehood is getting ripped away. Okay, the source of the virus, the cure for the virus, the global warming and all the, and it's just like, what, there are individual egos taking advantage of, there's global warming, so there's people that want to make money on it. Does that mean global warming's not happening because, some people want to make money on it? No. Some people want to loot. Okay, there's there's basically demonstrations, and people want to take advantage of the demonstrations and rip off Target. Okay, does that mean that the demonstration is invalid? No. You see what I'm saying? There are opportunists. Okay, self-oriented, narcissistic egotists that want to take advantage of any opportunity to advance their own agenda. But that does not disqualify the social, cultural, human condition, okay, that is, a wanting to reveal itself, wanting to help us reveal ourselves, our higher spiritual nature to ourselves. Gemini is about learning. Okay, having, the North Node through Gemini, through this next, year and a half. This is multicultural. The Sagittarius Gemini axis is multicultural, international, foreign relations, foreign ideas, expansion of consciousness through communicating in a childlike, open Dutch way. It's great, Just, Gemini is kind of the eternal youth, and it is this, this movement that happens as a result of, sharing, communicating with like-minded souls of different origins, of different backgrounds, different religions, different colors, different, financial status, different. Gemini is, it's just like, it's going to learn something from anybody. Gemini will learn something from everybody. Yeah? They talk to anybody and everybody, and they get something out of it. But what I want to close, with this whole kind of situation is going back to last week. Again, Osho talked about, sex, love, compassion. Compassion as being the highest vibration that we can achieve as human beings. And part of that compassion is forgiveness. And it starts with myself. I have to forgive myself for being human, for having urges and, desires and, and when they get bottled up or thwarted, anger or violent or whatever, I have to, what we direct towards ourselves, then we can direct towards other people. And compassion and forgiveness can have to, they really have to do with just accepting the humanity of each and every person living in a human body, and that none of us are perfect, and that all of us have some learning, some growing, some wound to heal, and in some way, shape, and form, it's almost like there's if you tipped it over and did not have love, it could be pity. It could be pity. You could just feel sorry, okay? For, these guys that have to have, all kinds of power or a badge or a uniform or an office or all kinds of money or all kinds of, influence or whatever, in order to justify their existence, in order to feel worthy of even living. You could say that, it's an overcompensation for a weakness and a wound of feeling totally impotent, totally weak, totally, unable to create or unable to love. So I reach out for, the money or the porn or the badge or the whatever. I reach out for these things, because inside I am in massive turmoil and angry at myself. So it's, we want to take that, what could be pity, and we want to elevate it by recognizing, oh my goodness, I have qualities of inadequacy. I have, anger in me. I have lust. I have I have all these kind of, lower vibrational, negative emotions. We live in a polarized reality. The twins, Castor and Pollux. One is heavenly and divine, and the other is earthly. I talked about, Castor and Pollux. I think it was in the Pele report 3 weeks ago, right? And Helen and Clytemnestra, right? So, there's also, the quaternity. I'm not going to get into that today. I want to just kind of wrap it up here, with the mantra, and just say, really, instead of death and destruction, creating further division, it can ignite compassion, forgiveness, and resurrection. We're entering the storm. Okay, whether it's hurricanes, typhoons, monsoons, weather, or whether it's riots, or whether it's famine. Okay, whether it is COVID, whether it is economic, disaster. Okay, we're entering this period that is awakening us to a need. Our next evolutionary need is none of us is going to solve these problems personally or individually or without cooperating, listening, working, forgiving, accepting, and co-creating the age of Aquarius, the age of community. So, we got some hard lessons to learn around inequality, around injustice, okay, just around suppression in general, in order to really, come forward and, heal our planet, heal our world. And I say the sooner we learn these lessons and the sooner we evolve, the less drastic and painful it has to be. Let us understand we are creating our reality together. Our collective consciousness creates the weather, creates pandemics, creates we are co-creating the human experience together. So each one of us doing our own personal work and then coming together with like-minded souls for spiritual activism. That's what Andrew Harvey is about, spiritual activism. It's not just talking about it. We need to be getting out and putting our money where our mouth is, and putting our votes and putting our actions speak louder than words, and being on a front line, being protesting, being really moving our physical energy, whether it's financial or muscle or bodies or whatever, just move, overcome entropy, and do this Sun Mars in a positive, beautiful way. Yeah. So instead of death and destruction, yes, creating further division, it can ignite compassion, forgiveness, and resurrection. May we all resurrect after this death and destruction releases the chains and ties that bind. Namaste. Aloha. So much love.